White Tiger is a new crime drama that is now streaming on Netflix. It just came out Friday, and it is directed by Ramin Barani, I think is his name. This is an Indian film with a lot of Indian actors and actresses, and it may have even been shot on location in India. I have no idea. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I actually did write some of the actors' names down because I did want to get it right. We have Priyanka Chopra. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of know her name by heart, and I didn't have to remember hers that much. We also have Adarsh Gaurav and Raj Kumar Rao. Hope I got that right. There's a lot of other really talented actors and actresses that are in this movie, but I don't have the faculties, I don't have the facilities to pronounce them, and I don't want to make the situation worse than it already is. I know, I ain't shit for this. This movie is based on a novel of the same name, I think, and the best way I can sum up the story is that there is a very poor Indian man who is struggling with his family in the slums of India. One day he sees a great opportunity to be recruited into this rich family so that he can work for them as a servant, as a driver, as whatever they need. Throughout the story, you can see he tries to use his wit and his cunning to fight and claw his way out from under the big boot that is, you know, capitalism and rich people, so that he can chart his own path and control his own destiny. Not gonna lie though, I saw Priyanka was in the movie and that was just like an immediate, yeah, I have to watch that. Priyanka Chopra Jonas is actually her name. She did legally change her name because she did marry one of the Jonas brothers. I saw Priyanka, I said, yep, there's no way I'm not watching that. But putting that aside, the trailer actually did look kind of interesting. I have no idea if this is actually based on a true story or not. I just know that the story for this movie is based on that book. And I also know that the director also wrote the screenplay for this movie. And like I said, I have absolutely no idea if this film was shot on location in India. Maybe people who know a little bit more about that information, or maybe people who actually live in India can tell me that in the comment section. But what I can say is, regardless if it actually was shot on location, it definitely captures the poverty and the beauty of India in its shots and its location. I'm actually gonna give this movie the first eggs on a tit of 2021. That's what this movie is. That's how visually stunning it is. It is eggs on a tit. Here's to many more titties with eggs on them when it comes to cinematography for movies in 2021. And here's to many more videos of people looking bewildered when I use that phrase. The bottom line is, I really love the way this film used its editing and its camera work. There is a lot of information that is conveyed with the edits and the cuts within each frame. This movie has a couple of different tones that it juggles, and one is dark comedy. There's a lot of funny things that you shouldn't be laughing at in this movie, but you do find yourself chuckling a little bit. The director is able to blend all of these tones together in a seamless way and still create a very engaging and interesting narrative, but mostly that is due to the performances and the characters. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw that this movie was rated R for like language and violence and like sexual material, I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping that the sexual material part of the rating had something to do with Priyanka, but you know, no dice. There's no side boob or anything like that here. Regardless of all that, Priyanka's a very talented actress, and she showed that in this movie. She's actually like one of the few characters in this movie that actually seems to have a soul and a conscience. I gotta single out the main character, the main actor who plays him. I think he's Adarsh Gaurav. I do believe this was his first film. Like, I think this was the first film that he ever did any acting work in, which is hard to believe when you actually watch his performance in the movie. But yeah, this is his first movie. There's a great tightrope that he has to walk in this movie, because on the one hand, he has to be kind of reserved and restrained around his masters, very subservient to them and everything that they're asking him to do. At the same time, there's also this simmering energy like below the surface, and you can kind of see that energy come out at different points. He does bring a very positive vibe to a lot of his scenes. Shout out to this guy. I'm definitely very excited to see more work from him in the future. The movie definitely exists upon the idea that there are systems within systems, and that there are specifically systems that are designed to keep poor people poor and keep rich people rich. This is not just a searing indictment of India's case system and the way that they do things over there, the culture of India and how hard it is to make it. Searing indictment of case systems and classism and rich versus poor, inequality, all of that. It's an indictment of all of that across the board, around the world, different countries. What I loved about this film is not just that it knew how to engage me as an audience member, but it also engaged me on this issue and didn't just show me the main character's perspective. You really do get to see how this mentality, this culture, and this case system affects the people and affects the lives of everybody that's attached to it. You might think this movie is kind of bubbly and entertaining at times. It definitely does take some dark turns. There's some very serious things going on in this movie. It makes you all the more invested. Like, those are some of the best parts of the movie for me. I do think that the movie has a little bit of a problem when it comes to the narration. And the main character is telling you this story and he's letting you know all of this stuff that's happened to him. And unfortunately, some of the narration definitely is overused. Some scenes where it just feels very unnecessary, and it feels like maybe that scene could have been allowed to breathe a little bit more. Like maybe that scene would have hit a little bit different if you had just not had any words, but unfortunately, the narration is a continuing, ongoing thing. If you don't like narration, there's definitely a high possibility that you're gonna get irritated at some point watching this movie, but in general, I didn't think it was bad. I just thought maybe they went a little bit overboard in some scenes. Also, while I don't think the pacing of the movie is a huge issue, I do think that the movie could have been a little bit shorter. It clocks in at right around 2 hours, but to be honest, there's a couple of scenes they could have just removed and it wouldn't have really affected the flow of the movie at all. I think another issue that I have is one that I can't spoil, but it has to do with a conflicting thing in the narrative that just I didn't buy. Can't spoil what it is, so I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's just suffice it to say I didn't buy it when a certain character reacted a certain way, and then it kind of conflicts with something else in the movie that, again, I can't really spoil. The White Tiger was definitely one of the early surprises of 2021 for me. I think I'm gonna give this one Superman Prime. Check it out, if for nothing else, than to just be able to watch Priyanka just walk around and do stuff for 2 hours. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.